Zone 4. But the second one, of course, is we've now got 8 teams on match point. And with so many in that enviable spot, they don't want to take more risks than they absolutely have to.
Oh my, the moment you poke a toe outside though, C9 and TSM feel pressure from the teams to their north. C9 lose out on Chaotic. Nadi's gonna be able to pop that shield bat. Again, it's like we mentioned, no one's gonna fully collapse or give up this space. They're just gonna be here and greet the other teams if they have the ammo to boost up those evos. Monsoon literally one shot away from purple.
Of course, Monsoon on the M&K helps him out a bit with those long-range sniper shots. He's got the 6x there, and the circle does go Skyhook. Alliance stuck in Grandma's hand. Grandma's house there have a rough road ahead of them. So too do Falcons.
Grandma's got a lot of grandkids out here. The way that we rotate through Grandma's house. Team Falcons backed away though, giving respect to Alliance, but also being wary of the teams that could possibly third party if they do want to fully engage, because Dreamfire and Liquid Alienware are right around the corner.
Now, the fact that it's gone northwest as far as Skyhook is concerned may have actually worked into Guild's favor. We said before they had to hedge their bets, and it's kind of worked out for them. But Makers and Moist are on the back side of this, and as they come up from the eastern side, let's have a listen to see how Moist are going to make this rotation.
Yeah, we shoot. I can't see yet. I'm coming. I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here.
Silver gun.
I think we're trying to rotate. Yeah, we need to get behind these guys. Yeah, I'm going.
Yep, I'm gonna play the cart.
Yeah, I'm gonna get on top of the cart.
They're trying to run up.
There's a guy on the tracks on our left.
Bang, bang.
I'm banging on the same. Banks flush, banks flush.
There's
I'm swinging to Walty, I'm swinging to Walty, I'm swinging to Walty.
Yep.
What?
There's a team deep, there's a team deep all the way
on the tracks. I'm swinging to Walty.
Yeah, I'm going back.
Come back. What's happening, Timmy?
There's a team all the way at the beginning of the tracks.
Yeah, I think it's team playing tunnel, playing big.
Yeah, I do. Come here.
Okay, then I think we need to fight these guys.
Yeah, we do. I'm just saying.
Okay. You have fuse ult? Yeah, I do. I'm gonna wait for him to EMP to fuse ult.
Yep. I'm gonna go now. I'm EMPing now. They have no Watson. Hit them all. Hit all of them.
Newcastle one. Fuse ulting. I can fuck them. I'm gonna nade the fuck into them. Nading. Watch out on me. Nice. Yeah. On me. Last one.
Oh my god.
Res. New team here. Run to me, run.
Ready. I might die.
Ult's almost cracked.
I might die.
Run.
Bethany.
Where you go? Trying. Run to me, run.
Yep.
Guild comes so far out of their spot in the tunnel. They were safe and sound, but they wanted to make sure that no one was on their doorstep. And Moist, after winning that fight with Makers, now are in Struggle Town.
This is so smart from Guild, because they know that if any team is going to fight on the outside of zone over to the east, it has to be not Moist. They want to secure their chance at being the team to take this game, to prevent Moist, who are sitting at max points, from clutching it out, but they still managed to get away. They probably could clutch out a res.
And remember, it was an early rotate play for Guild, so getting access to, 5 death boxes there is incredibly important for their mid to end game, as the tunnel is going to be an awesome spot for the Australian squad to play from.
Giving Gladiators, you saw right there, just straight chilling as Falcons get taken out in 18th by Dreamfire with some help from Monsoon. As you know, they were holding that middle sniper tower.
If you want to talk about momentum, there is a complete lack of inertia for the super team right here in our finals.
There you go. Timmy's picked up the banners. Huge change here that we've seen with the Cryptos. And also huge moves here for Not Moist, because they're one of the teams that don't have a support legend. They can't risk letting those banners time out because you can't replicate it. And maybe even taking their time, depending on where Timmy wants to get the res, perhaps by survey with the drone here.
I mean, this is a great outcome for Guild. Not only does all of that happen, but they don't get their spot nicked in the tunnels. It's going to be such a great walk-in for them. There'll be a couple of teams they have to worry about, but now we look at Fnatic down near the zone.
What I love about this timing is that Guild cannot extend on this because of the fact that they've been out of that tunnel side for so long to take that fight initially to Not Moist. It's also allowed teams like Noctem to continue on from the mouth of that track a building here, off to the side here, by those bins that are looking at Guild.
Yeah, now you're, of course, talking about Guild the team, as we've just seen Guild or Gilderson's the player get respawned back in by Not Moist. So many people in the arena right now wearing the jerseys designed by Timmy himself to support them. But can they get back in here? Maybe the bin reset will help them, because obviously they've lost so much of their loot, the attachments, everything else. But the bin reset after Zone 2 could be of help to Moist. Now, we look at this zone up here, Gaming Gladiators. Interesting to note that they are all the way up the north. I've not seen a lot of people play this spot, but I think it's usually because the zone often will cut off a little bit more southerly around where the train station is, and it's not actually in. But this is an awesome pick here from Light, the IGL of GG.
And they looted all of Sky West by trial, so they still have a gold knock to work with. This plays into the way that they want to station up in that next zone. Although, as slow as it is, they still have full blue Evos. They could pepper into the teams that poke their heads by the train station side. But I'm not expecting them to commit anytime soon until that next zone reveals itself. While other teams like Liquid, Bleed, who are in that train station, will have to coexist. Another fight here as Not Moist now have gotten ahead of Alliance. They're holding on the edge of the circle, trying to prevent them to rotate in.
Alliance were just desperately hoping that circle would pull south, and it doesn't. But they have at least a Kraber to their name, which is probably a lot more than Moist have in their hands. As Ziprail comes out, a nice Kraber shot. No EMP, follows up. Oh, beautiful. And then the follow-up here, too, from Tyler. Gets another Kraber shot. Hockeys, 3 for 3. Sends out the nade here to clear up the space. Sending out Unlucky to clean up Not Moist. Out of this run, and knocked them now, looking to get involved. The Alliance cannot fully reset yet, unless Hockeys can make a huge play with this Kraber. Misses the shot, and that was detrimental. Losing on Hockeys, only up to Tyler. He gets one knock, leaving the other one flesh. He gets a hip-fire shot. He gets two. Can he pull it off behind both knockdowns? Here he's playing through, but the barrel it doesn't let it happen as Atnam comes out and another third party rolls in. And the train rolls on. This time it's SSG coming in. And Noctum was so hurt and injured already from the Alliance fight that SSG will easily take that, helping them into third spot now with 64 points.
That is two teams that were at match point, now eliminated from the lobby, all in the same choke. While Space Station have cleared that south side, this circle's pulling all the way to the north. Monsoon, beautiful tracking here as he's trying to line up this charge rifle shot, but that drop off, man, could hurt. As I'm getting word that VK Gaming have now officially hit match points.
But there's 3 teams who aren't on match point, Vicky, that are in the train station. There's every chance we go to 10 here. I'm just saying. Liquid Alienware, Bleed Esports, Dreamfire, even Furia, who have now taken up position inside the zone. It's really all of them versus Gaming Gladiators.
Because Gaming Gladiators are in the safest position. They don't have to worry about a team wrapping up behind them. There is no space for another team to coexist unless a squad just ints on them.
As the zone starts to close now, we see SSG having to make their way in. Teams are fighting for supremacy up the top here. You can see that even the Newcastle walls getting blasted through as Complexity Guild SSG move further into their positions. GG are getting sent on.
They know that it's GG. The EMP, but Light is playing off of a beautiful head glitch off the corner. They completely take out Complexity, but here comes the nades. The Arc Star, but a huge wall coming in from Blast. The gold knock to allow GG to reset, but nobody wants to commit, even with those nades hurtled in their direction.
They're just so good at turtling every time someone throws aggression their way. GG weather the storm and then come out on top. Guild Esports. We talked about them. That fight they took earlier has at least got them some of the way to purple. But they're going to be going up against a lot of teams with better armors than them. still quite a few teams who have been sitting within that train station, playing a little more passively. Sure, they're still on the blues. And we do have to remember, any team that's got
Ο
a
SSG,
Watson
ο
at this
Κόιφουλ
point, or a
είναι πολύ
Catalyst,
καλός.
if they stay within the zone, you get an extra 25 shields at the moment.
Half of this
Και οι
lobby out of
Fanatics.
the 12
Αλλά
squads right now are still alive and are at match point. We may see one less with Fnatic holding on to dear life. Leica still
Κοίτα
alive.
εδώ, ρε
E36
φίλε.
still with those full blue evils like you mentioned, Genome. Still so many
Νευρίασε.
still lacking that health diff. BKG now playing underneath the tracks. Guild having to be careful because Space Station are climbing up to jump right there on top of the tracks. Jumping right on top of the train station.
Where do they go? They want the roof,
Where did they go?
but there's already another team up here.
Bye.
New has to work out, takes too long to make the decision, doesn't drop.
That was a miscommunication right there. He was the first one to drop, but the rest of Space Station landed right behind him.
Spinning in circles.
They didn't know. They wanted to make sure it was possibly clear, but they had to go for the risk. NRG get eliminated as you see Furia holding on.
Τέλα, ρε,
With
σώζουνε τον
that
τέτοιο.
zipline, they were able to also
Τι
go on
λες?
the other side. Now they can hold a different angle.
Zainu drops, they get the res.
C9 sharing that though. So many teams inside of this station. Liquid, Bleed, C9 now, as they were able to get the reset. BK Gaming still fighting on the outside. They take out one from Guild, and they finish off Legacy.
Most of these teams are fighting for just a tiny portion of the map to themselves. Meanwhile, Gaming Gladiators have got a mansion up north.
Το Reps που είναι, ρε.
Ground, everything that they could hope for.
Πω πολύ είναι
That
μέσα.
could keep this going is the solo member of TSM. E36 is out of here. Furia still alive, trying to hold down the high ground, but Space Station have made their way up on top. Koiful cleans up the fight, finds Furia. You hear the hemlock shot. VK Gaming now looking to third party who have now taken up on height. They're also one of the teams that can keep this Apex going.
Πάει ο
Quite a few
SS.
teams in that position. We're seeing a few of them here fighting each other. Brings us closer to an end.
C9 meeting them, having to slide right back down to the stage that they've built up with themselves and the Watson. You saw the Nemesis shot from the other side. Bleed have now officially hit match points. So many teams now, though.
Guild's done amazing things as a rat. MT
Yes.
on that crypto.
Χαίρομαι που
Some have
TSM
called him the
χάσανε,
best rat in the
yes.
game, but it's just him. Unfortunately, they don't make the rotation with all three.
And TSM get eliminated. Look at this chaos. While Gaming Gladiators are completely uncontested on the north side, outside of the tracks.
Well, they were, but then they lost access to the weather tower, so they try and hide behind this tiny part of rock.
All eyes on VK Gaming. The nades. The different angle. Gaming Gladiators down to one. C9 engaging on a fight. It is Team Liquid who are still alive in here.
Only one left alive for Guild and for GG until now. It's a respawn.
The clutches res from GG here. Trying to, at least on the other side. It was Guild that had gotten the clutches res, bringing both members back. Bleed still inside the train station.
I think MT lost his drone, so instead of being able to stay invis longer, he gets revealed.
Oh,
Finds a Mirror Guild Esports on the sticks, and Team Liquid get whiff of the rest.
Bye.
They completely pull out. They look at
Panic,
a lot
GG.
of health. And Gaming Gladiators eliminated from this lobby. Only
Panic
Guild alive,
Gladiators.
and we get more Apex.
We're going more!
Συνεχίζεται.
More, everyone. Bleed drop down. Liquid, Bleed, and VK Gaming have seen us through. Our last three squads, VK Gaming do it. Liquid Alienware trying to put respect on their name.
Liquid κερδίσανε. Έλα ρε.
Puro Pizza Liquid putting themselves on top. Getting the dub. That was so crucial. They were sitting in 15th overall before that. Waving the flag. Viva Mexico! It's a beautiful Nessie, but this is how it starts. Look how many teams just hit match point, Genome.
3 more. We've got VKG, who picked up 16 points. They move up into 5th spot, continuing their incredible run and take match point eligibility. They are joined by Bleed, up to 60 points now. And Team Liquid with that 7-kill win, that gets them to 51 points.
Surely, how can I expect it to end their genome when I'm on the mic? That can't happen. You can expect it to always go to another 2 games when we're up here, but I wouldn't have it any other way when it comes to seeing more teams pop off, skyrocketing themselves in the overall standings, sitting at match point. I cannot believe we're about to go to a game 10.
Το ξέρω ότι θα υπάρχει και το 10ο παιχνίδι. Για περίμενε.
Just like he's been ripping apart other teams, he added 5 kills to his total there. But still, it wasn't enough for Gaming Gladiators. They had such a killer spot for the first 4 zones, but unfortunately, they just couldn't get over the line.
Πρέπει να τους δεις, δεν μετράνε τι σου δείχνει στην αρχή μέχρι στον τελευταίο κύκλο, γιατί μέχρι στον τελευταίο κύκλο όλοι είναι... Όλοι κάθονται και σου δείχνουν. Λοιπόν, λίγο pause και θα ξεκινήσουμε πάλι τα ALGS. Αλλά έχουν διάλειμμα τώρα, θα σου πω πότε. Έχουν τέτοιο βρέσει αγάπη. Δεν έχει νόημα να το δεις τι κάνουν και τα λοιπά. Γιατί κάνουν rotation, παίζουνε, λουτάρουνε και αυτά. Λουτάρουνε και τα λοιπά. Δεν έχει νόημα να το είσαι. Ο τελευταίος κύκλος είναι όλα τα λεφτά. Εκεί είναι το ξύλο. Ποιος μένει και ποιος όχι. Back. Yes. Δεν general. Δεν πάτησα όμως στο εδώ. Apply. Τι έγινε? Έχει διάλειμμα. Η τελευταία ομάδα βρες η αγάπη που μένει. Τι, πώς κερδίζει κάποιος. Η τελευταία ομάδα που μένει. Η τελευταία ομάδα. Και ποιος γίνεται τσαμπίον, ο οποίος φτάσει στους νομίζω 80 πόντους. Τώρα έπρεπε κάποιος να είναι είτε από τους GG ή από τους TSM, αλλά τους βγάλανε έξω πριν. Οπότε χάσανε και θα πάει για άλλο ένα game. Τους βγάλανε οι μικρές ομάδες που δεν είχαν αρκετά points. Γιατί φαίνεται έτσι, περίμενε. Όχι, δεν θέλω να κάνω skip, θέλω να το δω. Κατάλαβες? Η τελευταία ομάδα κερδίζει, αλλά εφόσον οι μικρές ομάδες σκοτώσανε τις καλές ομάδες, δεν πήρανε points οι καλοί. Πέθαναν, οπότε πήραν οι μικρές ομάδες points. Κάτσε να δω. Μπάει σε λίγο. Oh my god. Βλέπουμε ρε φίλε, τι παίζουν. Κάτσε ρε φίλε, ζαλίστηκα. Όχι το παιδί. Oh my god, και το παιδί. Και το κοριτσάκι, γιατί τι έκαναν. Τι έκαναν. Και αυτοκτόνησε. Yeah. Κάτσε να δω αν άρχισε. Ναι, άρχισε, οπότε.
In a second. Yeah, we've seen this typical pull over at Echo HQ, going a little bit towards that devastated coast, but SSG just had full control here. NRG, I believe, we're also playing off to their eastern, or excuse me, to their west just a bit. But SSG just had a nice angle. Plenty of headies to utilize off of here. You can see Zainu feeling extremely free, here on the right side. Phony's going to go ahead and back him up. As that push gets made by NRG to try and clear out Fnatic, SSG, no, we've got the victory here. They instantly pounce on them, and then they ride that momentum.
I would say that when you look at this, Lauren, these fights, they give you so much confidence because they're difficult, but you know that you just do the right things and you execute, you win. We head over to match 8. The aspect of being able to execute is the thing that separates winning a match point or not.
Absolutely, and that aspect is exactly what kept us going into a match 9 after this finish, because we make it here to a top 4 situation and we were staring at Bleed, NRG, GG, and TSM. Two teams on match point, two teams not at match point. But based off of where this zone landed, TSM up there at Elrod had a really good opportunity to get in here and find a good spot. Now, a lot of people thought NRG being on the other side had a really good position, and they did on that low ground, but so much chaos started happening when everybody was forced to drop down and get into these fights, and all of the teams fell at once, and we heard the crowd chanting TSM the second they saw that it was a possibility for them to close this out. And with TSM still being the one remaining up above everyone, it was a quick cleanup for them, and it's what kept us going.
Height has certainly won. You actually see it in Game 7, you see it in Game 8 and Game 9. It's not that every zone or every circle in Apex Legends is as cut and dry. Sometimes low ground, sometimes inside does actually win, but it has been Height, and that's where VK Gaming controlled this one. That's what put GG and Guild in such an issue. Liquid Alienware, though, Snipe would come out and make a major play. This is the Liquid Alienware we expected all week long, but we're not getting as they climb from the elimination brackets all the way here into match point finals. They now are putting themselves in a position to maybe take it all.
Yeah, I mean, this has been the story of Liquid Alienware this entire tournament. Is it seems like, you know, in the Game 6 where they were about to get eliminated, they got all the way and they got the win to get the 10th place, and now here they are in 11th place but still on match point, and that's what it's all about. And it just seems to me that they are just not hesitating when it comes down to them being in a bad
Liquid
position. They're like, all right, well, we got
το
nothing to lose at
match
this point.
point.
Let's just start doing everything we can and getting some KP.
Αν δεν έπαιρναν αυτοί που ήταν στους χαμένους.
I start to agree with you because you kind of changed my mind. I thought GG, it's going for a while, but they're in that final fight almost every single of those matches. I mean, that's as good as you can hope for, and then you got to just execute it.
Yeah, for the most part, they're playing aggressive where they need to play aggressive. But when you get the zone coming to you extremely close, you have to take that priority position. They haven't, you know, played it that often where they have to play for prio. They do succeed extremely well on edge, but you basically have to play with what you're given, and that's what they've been doing extremely well. It's just, at this point, it seems like, you know, there might just not be enough fuel left in the tank. I mean, we are heading into match number 10.
I know, strong words. He's right, though. I mean, you have a lot of great awareness of what it means, I think, to do the right thing, but also sometimes you're out of gas, you're out of fumes. Can they summon something from deep inside that might just make the difference and change their legacy in Apex Legends forever? GG, still with a chance to make history. However, a few fans that want to live in the present right now are standing by with Tiff. I think we got some good representation on either side of you, Tiff. What's going on?
Oh, we have so much representation down here in the crowd. Right now, I've got a Moist fan over here on my right and Liquid Alienware on my left. So, guys, I need you to introduce yourself, tell me your name, where you're from. I'll start with you.
So my name is Kirby on PC. You might know me from Ranked on Apex. And I'm 22 years old and I'm from Germany.
From Germany, a homeland. Let's go. How about you?
I'm Niels. I'm from Germany as well, just a few meters out actually. So I couldn't resist when they asked us if we want to go to Mannheim. If they didn't want to ask us, but oh fucking shit.
Hey, it's all good.
When I figured out it was in Germany, I was so excited that I couldn't resist going.
I couldn't resist going either, especially to cheer on Team Liquid Alienware. All right, so now that we've hit match number 10, I need predictions. How far are we going, and do you think Not Moist can close it out?
100%. Especially if my boy It's Timmy gets his Kraber, he's gonna kill everyone and win the match for sure.
All right, kill them all. Let's go. You also had a sign. Can we flash it?
So I have one question for my boy, Waltzy. What's your max bench?
I don't know, man, but it's gotta be a lot. And for you, Team Liquid Alienware, they had that massive clutch to get even into the finals on Sunday. What do you want to say to them to get them to bring it home?
I think they say vamos in their language, so I would love to see that. 51 points, they just broke it, so they are on match point as well. I want to see them win. Let's fucking get it.
Let's get it. All right, on set, Gaskin, take it away.
Well, who's ready for match number 10? We are into double digits here. In our match point finals, it keeps on going. Another game to get a little bit closer to deciding who our champions is going to be. I had a feeling it would be a bit of a long day today.
Just one of those days, I mean, with the increased amount, or I guess the decreased amount of match point threshold, but the lack of advantage points really has shaken things up here in Mannheim, and it's just been so difficult for any of these teams to get across the line because there are so many teams here who have been able to put victories on the board across this tournament. It's not like previous tournaments where sometimes teams just limp through without victories. No, everyone has been able to slam their way into this grand final.
I mean, it's crazy, right? All the talk of the town at the start of this year, the start of this season of the ALGS was Team Falcons. If you needed an example of how good this lobby is, Falcons down in dead 20th at the moment and only managed to put 20 points on the board. And I'm sure there's some issues there that they're going to have to try and sort out, but it just shows the level of competition, right? We have GG, SSG, Alliance, TSM, VK, Fnatic, NRG, Guild, Bleed, Moist, Team Liquid, all on match point. To kind of summarize how many teams that is, it's 11. It would have been easier for me to say who wasn't.
It is 11 teams indeed. Can someone get the job done here in match 10? It's going to be World's Edge though, and that has been Gaming Gladiators' playground throughout this tournament. There are a few teams that have still yet to find a World's Edge victory though. Will we be able to someone change that script? Liquid Alienware were able to take us into match 10. Imagine if they could go back-to-back to win this entire thing.
They take themselves the victory home, and they put themselves on match point by doing so. We're now getting to the point of this tournament where you look at your teammates, you look at the coach, you look out at the fans who are supporting you in the crowd, and you just think to yourselves, let's go and get this done. Let's reach out. Let's put in the one performance that people will remember as the one that gave us the chance to walk up to that trophy and lift it above their heads. To everyone on that main stage right now, that's what's going to be going through your head. Make some noise in the building here as we head into match number 10.
That trophy is in touching distance for 11 teams, both figuratively and quite literally, with how close it is to those booths. But who has the bottom to get it done here in match 10?
Team Liquid Alienware send us to another game. They send us into double digits. Match number 10 is where we find ourselves, and we are back onto World's Edge. NRG, one of those many teams now who are on match point. 64 points they have in total. They were involved in a couple of scuffles towards the end of that previous game as well. And I will say we saw Nocturnal walk past us just as he went for the break. And he said to me, no better time to get it done.
I mean, the only difficulty really here for NRG is we've yet to see a team win from Monument this entire tournament. So they would have to break records if they were going to win it. Let's jump into a listening though with NRG a little bit later because we have a pause. Would have been a bad time. I saved us. Well, we'll get everything sorted for all of the players on the main stage. And I'm not going to talk about the zone.
You're not going to talk about the zone?
No.
No?
I've learned my lesson.
Nor am I. That means we have to talk about other stuff. That's not Apex, really. I mean, you know.
Well, as I mentioned, right?
Not really.
Monument. We've yet to see a team win from Monument this tournament. You can say the same about Staging. You can say the same about Tree. You say the same about Big Maud. There are 4 or 5 POIs here occupied by some big teams where we've yet to see anyone find a win. And I know that can definitely change with how these zones have been going. But when we look back to the previous zone, the previous chance, I mean, the likes of Gaming Gladiators really did have an opportunity there.
Well, good news is we're not going to have to hang around too long here by the sounds of things. Production are feeding back in my ear that we'll be getting back underway in just a few moments' time. So only a brief pause, hopefully, as we see the timer in front of us. Countdown with me, everybody, from 3 as we head into match 10. 3, 2, 1. Game back on. Let's get into this.
The EXO clan fans are still as loud as ever. Maybe it could be them, EXO, to take us to match 11. Because it is becoming increasingly more likely now that someone will get the job. Over 50% of the teams have reached match point. But now it's about actually locking in and securing it here. Now the zone, we are going to be heading north, back up to Skyhook yet again here. Fantastic news for Gaming Gladiators.
I will also say fantastic news for the teams who are desperate to chase down match point. Yes, obviously our attention will be on those teams who can close this series out now. But if you're going towards Skyhook and you know there is at least playable area, there is multiple floors of multiple buildings for you to be involved in an endgame, like we saw in the previous game, it means someone like Team Liquid Alienware can come out of nowhere and potentially send us to a game 11. A lot to talk about with this zone, and when we look at priority, we also have to mention that this is a great zone again for Gaming Gladiators.
Gaming Gladiators for Guild. We even see Enter Force 36 from Countdown move incredibly quickly, by the way, up into Skyhook, as Guild also will arrive and find themselves a building to call home, maybe for quite a while here. They're going to opt to go for the northern tip and hope that it does continue to pull north like it did previously. It is a somewhat different circle. It's not going to be identical, to what we saw in the previous. There is a chance it could shift that little bit further east, and that could definitely benefit teams that are arriving a little bit later, like Not Moist, like NRG, who are now approaching the zone.
Yeah, I really like the spot that NRG have taken, actually. You can see some of the teams who have taken the pro positions, Bleed Esports being one of them. You've got Guild, who we saw. But NRG's position, they were walking through the train tunnel, and now they can play this stack building, which is always an interesting one, because you feel like you've got height, but the height of this building is kind of dwarfed by a lot of the buildings around it. So if you do go up onto that height, it's kind of a little bit exposed, and you can find yourself taking some pretty comfortable damage from a lot of other teams. GG, though, a massive chance, an opportunity as they find themselves in train station. They've accumulated 90 points, 40 more since they hit match point. But it doesn't really matter, because they are yet to get over that line.
Well, one thing that Gaming Gladiators are securing is minimum second place by keeping consistently putting points on the board. And, of course, a lot of prize money to go alongside that. And that won't really be their main consideration, but will always be in the back of your head. You don't want to just sit at match point and then drop down that leaderboard, not hit it, and then only walk away with a top 8, for example. But this is EXO Clan. This is the team I was talking about approaching from the south through the vault tunnel. They want to get into one of these buildings.
They will manage to as well. Now, NRG were in this building a few moments ago. The question is, are they still? It looks like they might have scarpered off, which means that Not Moist can now take control of this building in Skyhook. Now, Not Moist, I would say they had a really good kind of, it felt like mid-games of this series where they started to rack up those points, but since then been pretty quiet. You remember they got across the line with just 1 point I think they needed from a game, and they got that 1 point. But since then, have only been able to kind of put a few more on the board. But this is a good zone for them. This is an opportunity for them. So maybe, just put a bit of pressure on those teams who are maybe in slightly better positions already. And with the way they've been fighting, any good position at the moment, if you've found yourself with Not Moist on the other side of the fight, becomes a lot less comfortable than it was a few moments ago.
Well, speaking of things that are uncomfortable, Team Falcons in 20th position. All of the talk and all of the build-up this season about this super team and what they can achieve. At the moment, they have not been able to reach the dizzy heights that maybe were expected of them. I still wouldn't count them out, and that's the scary thing. Being in 20th position, they could still find a victory and could still keep things going, but it must be so hard mentally, knowing you are that far behind, to try and keep going, to try and stay focused here. And they really have to face both themselves and the game if they're going to find anything else.
Well, let's not forget that TSM went 3 back-to-back when Imperial Howl was on that team to come out of nowhere to become a champion.
It's not impossible.
So it's certainly not impossible with the talent that is on that team. However, that is a tall ask for anyone. As we look at Enter Force 36 now, 22 points on the board for them. On the top of the cake.
And I like this position. They move very fast from countdown after they got the ring console, and actually it might be a position that some teams try and take off of Enter Force 36 if they're arriving later on.
Imperial shit.
No, he's got to be careful here. He's getting shredded. Also trying to give him a little bit of cover, and we'll be able to do so. Nicely done. As Naughty, no, he tries to launch back to his teammates, and instead it's going to turn into a death box. Sorcerer will grab that banner and try and escape back to his teammates, but he'll go down as well. And Makers, Chaotic, he's going to have 3 players flying at him pretty soon.
Yeah, Makers are full sending this. Dexter's taking a lot of damage. Chaotic's done at least well to keep them held back ever so slightly, but I think the Makers should be able to finish off this fight, and I imagine we're going to see Cloud9 falling very shortly indeed. Try as you might to escape, but Makers were on the charge, and it's 2 teams who were not on match point going toe-to-toe there.
So back, look over where we believe this endgame is going to be taking place, and you can see everybody starting to stack up. Let's talk about what's outside of the zone, though. Liquid Alienware over at Lava Fissure. They're hitting a ring console at the moment, and waiting to, which is going to give them Zone 3 info, which is going to be very, very interesting. They will be able to play for that spot afterwards.
But not really that important Zone 3 information. You're not going to learn that much here. With that pull, I mean, that just confirms, yes, we're going to Skyhook, which everyone really knew. Zone 4 information would be ideal, but if you want to achieve that, you're going to have to play for Countdown, and then get late ring console information, which is certainly doable, and maybe that can be a consideration for some of these teams.
Exa kind of fight themselves at the moment. You can see Feudor and Swinney already taking damage. VK Gaming going to be looking at them as well, and they're a team who are on match point. Drones are going to go out. You can see pop shots come in to try and take the electronics out of it. As Alliance now make their way downtown through the tunnel towards the north side of Skyhook.
Now, it is definitely a consideration for a lot of these teams to position yourself in a spot that has loot bins as well. When that Ring 2 does close and the loot bins turn into legendary bins and you get all of the gold attachments, you are definitely going to miss those if you have played into an early area and you don't have access to them. However, when you go into Skyhook, there's going to be a lot of buildings that won't have said access, so would you rather play in the train station on the east, where you would get all of those attachments and have a far more high success rate when you get into those fights later?
Alliance using the balloon in the tunnel to try and find a place to play. You see they're scouting out the middle building. They can certainly see there's some beautifully arranged fences up there, which are going to make it very difficult for them to play, but they are in Skyhook. Now, I'm interested to see where this zone actually pulls, because we talked about Zone 3 info, right? It's not really giving us anything. It's essentially saying the entirety of Skyhook is still in it. Now, we have shifts. We have so many zones within Skyhook that are played from different positions that end up on different sides of it. If it shifts towards the west, which would be, I would say, from what we see on our screen, a little bit of a violent pull.
Yeah.
Not something we haven't seen before. Certainly today, we've seen it a few times. Then it means the position that Alliance have taken becomes a much more valuable one. The same can be said about the position of Team Liquid Alienware. But if it does go the way that the majority of these teams are are stacked up on that eastern side, then Alliance and Liquid will have to do some hard work to get anywhere.
Yeah, usually it pulls north up towards the cake. Sometimes can pull a little bit further southeast, down where the likes of ExoClan and VK Gaming find themselves as well. But Fnatic, they can go for the situation here where they actually just play Countdown. They get that info late, and then they can decide on how they want to move. Maybe Team Falcons on the east side can also do something similar. They were looking to maybe get some loot bins as this second ring is about to close. But this is a situation where we have 19 squads still alive. No one really shooting at each other right now in Skyhook, but all you need is one squad like Fnatic or Falcons who have not entered yet, and it can just suddenly shake everything up as everyone starts to get a little bit alerted to their arrival.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm looking at this map overhead right now that we have, and this next zone info essentially is gonna be pretty crazy to watch, because everybody is kind of, the majority of teams think it's going to the east, but there's a lot of teams that have also positioned themselves on the west. Now that would suggest that there's a little bit of maybe confusion about where they believe the zone is going to be going, or maybe it's just a case of so many teams stacked up already. But this is gonna be like a real big moment in this game. Which way does that zone go?
Yeah, some teams definitely had no choice and just had to accept whatever building was available. There's some stick drift for you. Also, Gaming Gladiators are sitting far north right now. But this is what I was talking about in Countdown. You can get Zone 4 information, which could arguably be the most important information of the game so far. If this shifts anywhere west, that would be a big surprise.
Oh
my!
Okay. Okay.
That one hurts for 10 teams that committed a little bit further east there. But amazing news still for those who committed to the cake building. And you mentioned it, Alliance, they went all the way over to the west side. TSM also in the northwest. They have one of the strongest buildings to hold right now, because it can continue to pull that northwest side as well after this.
Well, Fnatic give us ring information. They get ring information. And for the benefit of everybody who's watching right now, regardless of where you are, Yuka has found a Kraber. This man hit some of the nastiest shots earlier on Storm Point. It was honestly an absolute pleasure to watch him go to work. And now he's going to have the chance with the Turbo Havoc and that Kraber in his hand to blast a pathway for Fnatic to zone.
It is still only Fnatic and Falcons that are not in zone at the moment. Both of them are looting themselves up to the gillies right now. And they are going to be more than prepared for any fight that may occur. Dreamfire have also just pushed themselves out here and said, hey,
another Kraber.
We'll take a mythic bin, thank you very much. And they also have a Kraber to work with.
Big moment here for Fnatic. Remember, they are on match point. There's so many teams stacked up inside of Skyhook already that finding a place to play is going to be tough. The low ground isn't really a prime position to have to play, and it's because of the damage that you could take from so many different angles. Fnatic know this, but they're going to be able to reset for now.
It's not necessarily the composition you want to be holding this area either. I mean, Newcastle would be perfect here. At least they have the Bangalore to smoke off some of those sight lines. But they're just rotating around this cake until they can find somewhere to call home. EXO have just pushed out because Falcons have started to arrive, and Zero's just gone down.
Zero's gone down, Falcons down to 2. EXoClan will claim a KP to themselves. Swinny now inside of his drone, trying to get some more information onto whether this is a good idea to push, or if they will just let Falcons be for now. Feuda's got to be careful. He's getting shot from all sorts of angles as Hao and Jumberton try and cut him down.
Sadly for Falcons, it was the Crypto that went down off Zero, but maybe they'll be able to grab his banner. You see, they have the mobile res here, so it is not done and dusted just yet for Falcons, and they answer back onto Feuda alongside VKG.
So Zero will be back in the game, but as you can see from the zone pool, it's going to keep going to the north. Now we see a fight taking place. Furia versus Noctum. Knockdown shields being a problem, and now shots from a distance being a problem as well. That will be Noctum Scan eliminated from the lobby as our second team to fall.
And the zone is going to continue to pull towards that cake building, by the way. Enter Force 36, who moved right at the start of this game to the top tier of it, are in arguably prime position as Furia eliminated in 18th position. That's another squad not on match point being taken out of the game, as Alliance are going to have to fight their way here from the southwest. up towards that cake building we keep talking about.
Well, Fon's just gone down and been finished for NRG, so they've got some decisions to make themselves. You can see there's a care package down, which I don't think anyone is going to be brave enough at this point to even consider going for. But speaking of brave, it's a brave move now from Not Moist. They land inside of the building, on top of the building that is currently occupied. Excuse me, no, they flew past the building that was occupied by Alliance. And even though this won't be safe, at least they will be able to avoid all of those teams rotating later from the side that was so stacked on the east.
VK Gaming, Bleed Esports, Guild, EXO, Liquid, Falcons, Not Moist. You all have to move here as round 4 begins to close. Do you get down and dirty and try and take a fight, or do you just try and surpass everyone here? Hope to find a gap, hope to find a little bit of space. There's a lot of open area where you won't really find a place to call home.
It's a really interesting situation developing here because you see the GG have made their way into zone. Jem Burton trying to do what he can, but Falcon's bad day continues. They will be out the lobby as well as we see Jaguares reintroduce himself to it.
Now GG laying down some damage. They have been on match point since match 3 as VK Gaming. They get eliminated. That's one of our match point squads. Out.
GG got to watch their backs here. Make sure they don't get wrapped. This pit is somewhat safe, but they are going to be challenged. And the castle wall has already been pretty much broken. It's Fnatic who are pushing them. Not Moist have been eliminated in the meantime. Another match point team is out of here. Blast is left on his own. Blast is spraying, but no prayers will be answered as GG will fall and Fnatic will stay fairly healthy, but no! Here comes TSM. They're moving in from the north.
Yeah, Fnatic are absolutely obliterated. They are down as well as TSM can now control this side of the map. It's only Guild, the other side of the train station, that maybe they have to worry about. Makers, Alliance, and Dreamfire all on the southern side. So much information can be gathered from your drone right now as you need a plan of attack. How do you enter this zone and where do you go? And this is why I was talking about enter Force 36 at the top of that building. They can watch all of this unfold and no one dare will try take it off of them.
Alliance taking a fight here. Team Liquid Alienware have been eliminated in the meantime. That's another match point team who have fallen. Dreamfire taken out by Alliance. They will keep their game alive as we head into the top 10. 10 squads remaining here on World's Edge.
Well, it's Complexity, ExoClan, Makers, and E36. The only 4 teams who are not on match point that are still alive, and EXO's just gone down. So that makes it only 3 teams now who are not on match point. 6 squads can still win it here, TSM being one of them. And they found themselves into the zone, but here come Alliance.
Here come Alliance with a classic Alliance zip. They play the outside of the second level of the building, but there are teams still in and around them. Unlucky's going to have to take a second here just to pop that battery to make sure that if they are pushed, that he's going to be able to fight back. Makers now making a move on their own to the west side of TSM. TSM have this staircase to use as a head glitch, and they've got the bang ult just to stall it out, but now the flank is coming in. Reps has taken a huge amount of damage. They have some armor swaps available, but it's Guild. This was the worry for me for TSM, that Guild would wrap them.
Everyone's starting to look a little bit nervy now. If you make one mistake, if you step your foot in one wrong position, there could be someone just to wipe you off the face of World's Edge. But
Makers are sending it!
They send it!
Makers are sending it! TSM, Verhol still get 2!
What
but are they able to reset it? It's a clean wipe from TSM for Guild Esports. Now looking to take advantage, but the hold is good enough. The fight is over quick enough that TSM can recover.
Only Complexity and enter Force 36.
Verhol!
Verhol! The Grenade Master!
Verhulst wants to win this. The Sky Nades. They take out one member of Guild. They take out one member of NRG. That's the 2 teams who potentially were pinching them, as now we look at Alliance.
Alliance have taken a lot of damage, but TSM, they take out another team. NRG now go down. Alliance take down Complexity as well. 6 squads remain. 5 are on match point. Unless Enter Force 36 win this game from the top of that cake building that they took right at the start, we will find our winner right here, right now.
How many times, by the way, are Guild just going to be allowed to respawn a player in the late game? Not for the first time we've seen it. Phony's going to get a knock here for SSG, who are trying to progress forward. Not sure if they managed to finish it off, but here comes Guild to get a little bit of a helping hand. Shuby's going to try and escape to that second level and will manage to do so. Hackers has been finished though. Phony from SSG reduces them to 2.
It's nervy times for every single team, for every single member of this audience, for you and I, for everyone watching at home. TSM have the Northwest, but they have to approach now as E36 still sits on this high ground, may I add. And keep that in mind.
The only team who is not on top or inside of one of the levels of the building in front of TSM is TSM. Everybody will have to leave. Everybody will have to fight. And TSM can bide their time.
They can bide their time, but also Enter Force 36 are on the high ground. Now Alliance, as a 2, trying to deal the damage, trying to pin back the team here. To survive, to give themselves a chance as a duo.
It's a 2v2. Dropped and Shuby. They're going to find Mr. Mozambique and Co. Tyler will go in. Can't quite finish, but the zone surely does the damage. Bleed Esports will die. They will fall out of this lobby and Alliance will live.
And E36 have the
They're sending it onto TSM. TSM have to hold. Reps will go down. Verho's down. Snap, it's all onto you. Can you clutch for TSM as a solo? 5 squads now remain. Koifel. TSM are out. SSG go forward. They take damage. Guild has been eliminated. Alliance still as a duo, by the way. Might be dropping here. Unlucky on his own. Won't win it. But SSG will become your champions here in Germany. And Zainu becomes the 2-time.
So SSG, out of nowhere it feels like. And it's not 1, but 2 for Zainu. But a first for his teammates. Alliance, a valiant effort as a duo. But we finally conclude our match point finals here in Mannheim, Germany. And it is Space Station Gaming. At one point, the question was even, will they get any points in this match point final? The first 2 games of today, they were on 0. But they slowly crawled their way back to 50. And then when they got the opportunity, boy, did they seize it.
So the title goes back to North America. EMEA stood up. But it's the NA powerhouse, the team that was dubbed the second super team when it came together, who finally put it together to call themselves champions. Space Station Gaming, it's a final zone they will remember for the rest of their lives, and it's a moment certainly that they will remember for the rest of their lives as well.
And I really need to see replays ASAP of what happened to Enter Force 36, because they tried to take the high ground. I don't know if they got blown off it or what happened, but certainly they then full sent it down onto TSM, almost deleting their chances of winning it. But let's look back at that winning moment and see just exactly what did happen, because we were kind of in different POVs as it was going on. Was Alliance going to have the opportunity to do it as a duo? But then SSG were kind of waiting for them to arrive on the low ground.
Yeah, it certainly were. It felt like they just had the cover from the teams above. They won the team fight down on the low ground, which allowed them just to watch the final members of Alliance dropping. You have to wonder, if Alliance are a 3, are we calling this an Alliance win? But it wasn't. Ifs and buts don't count for much, as it's SSG on this low ground. Was certainly helped out by the leap from Enter Force 36 onto TSM.
But you saw there, up in the sky, they pinged where Enter Force 36 were. And you would imagine that E36 wanted to delay this as much as possible. But was it that EMP? Something caused them to suddenly just full send it onto TSM. And then with that, SSG had the right cover to be able to manipulate the map to stay alive a little bit, bide their time. And all you need at this point is 2 Mozambiques and a little bit of Zainu.
So it comes down to Koifel and Phony. It was a 2v2 right at the end, but just knowing that Alliance had to drop, they can get that first damage. They were already weak, and SSG have a simple job of closing out those final moments. It's a great story, right? I mean, you look back at, previous events, SSG disappoint. They just get over the line in certain groups. They just get over the line to get to the finals. But when we get here, when it matters the most, is when you need to perform. And SSG, I mean, their reputation is going to be talked about for quite some time now. They are champions.
And I cannot wait to see the faces, especially of Phony and Koifel, when they lift that trophy, because we know it is like nothing else. But for Zainu, he gets to do it a second time.
And now he's going to get to lift that trophy for a second time as well. We're going to send it down to the floor. SSG, it's time for you to pick up that trophy.
Crowd, let's welcome out our Split 2 playoff champions, SSG! Phony, I gotta ask. I can see the emotion in your faces, all right? What does this mean to you? I mean, this was an insane journey. Not a lot of people expected it, but here you are.
I don't think nobody expected it, I'm gonna be real. This is actually so surreal, bro. I love these boys to death, and I'm glad that I was able to do it with them. It was amazing.
All right, and Koi, I gotta ask you. You guys are the 4th only team in the 5.5-year history of Apex to lift this trophy. Talk to me about your journey.
All I can say is, you may not believe in God, but God believes in you. I trusted his path for me, and I just kept to it. I kept grinding, and this is where it got me.
All right. Crowd's loving it. Zai, come over here. Zai, through the ups and downs of being a pro player, right? Everybody needs a support system. Everybody needs somebody they can talk to. You got your fans, you got your family, your friends, your teammates. Who was that support for you, and what do they mean to you?
Honestly, my mom, like overall, she's just like the best person ever. I wouldn't be here without her. I've said this in my last time winning. Like she got my PC and everything. I just wouldn't be here without her. Shout out my mom.
And I still remember the days of ranked grinding. It's insane. Don, come over here. Coach Belichick, I see the medals as well, man. First team ever in the history to win these medals right here. Don, talk to me about what it's like coaching players like this at this caliber.
I mean, these 3 players, everyone in the game knows they're amazing. They struggled the last 2 lands, but, you know, they brought me on to the team to try and make things work, and we're glad it worked, you know?
Again, I see the emotion in your faces. Fellas, lift that trophy one more time.
Sky high, no, out of orbit. Space Station Gaming take Split 2 playoffs, and that man Zainu right there does it for a 2nd time in a row. Koifel, the youth, the immeasurable skill, and Phony, his leadership, his dedication. They've gone to the top of the mountain, and they raise that trophy with pride, knowing that they are the kings of Apex Legends. What a moment, guys. Back on the desk, relishing in the crowd. Lauren, I always like to soak this part up.
It's an incredible feeling for anyone who gets to experience this live in person. You can sense the emotions that the players are feeling. You can feel the crowd. It was electric the entire time, wanting another match, wanting to see who could get onto match point alongside some of our earlier squads. This is one of the longest lands we've now had as far as our match point games go, and it was worth every second.
It certainly was. The crowd, you could see the reactions. Anybody winning this tournament would have been hyped, but there's a little something special about these guys. It was a long journey even today for them, Snipe. After the first 3 games, Space Station Gaming had 2 points. They end Game 10 with 85 and a trophy in their hands.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about it all weekend. We said that this is a momentum team. We talked about it on the very first show about how them and Falcons were the 2 teams that were considered the powerhouses, you know, the super teams, and we had not seen that from Space Station yet. And we come to this event, they started off slow. I don't know what was said. I can't wait to figure that out. But something was talked about with that team, and they came out, they gained momentum. In 4 games in a row, they were averaging 15+ points, and then they got near the end game, put themselves in a position to win, and then finally in that last game, things fell in their favor. The plays were made, and they got the win.
The second win that they won in this tournament, and the first one was not when they were on match point. So they had the confidence to move forward. And you need confidence in moments like this, when it's down and out and you're looking for who is going to step out of the pack and make a name for themselves. These guys already well known within the scene, but now across the world, the globe of the ALGS. As this final match ends up, some of the scores, Alliance, they were close. Enter 46. What happened with them? Force 36. We were trying to figure out how that worked out. Guild, wow, they had won a game earlier in this tournament in that exam. Maybe one of the bigger stories. We thought it was going to be them, but it wasn't. And on the other side of things, a little bit of despair. I told you, some would leave with a promising future. Some would look at this and see a little bit of darkness maybe. Lauren, hopefully not, but Team Falcons with a 0 there, coming in 20th place overall. This is not what we expected. The player on that Team 0 is the defending Split 2 champion. And you look at this and say, this is gotta mean something happens differently for the super team.
I think definitely a learning experience, right? Especially because we talked about it heading into the series. This was one of the most difficult lobbies we've ever seen in a match point finals. We ended up with half of that difficult lobby all on match point eligibility, and it could have gone any way. Like you were mentioning, we saw how much Alliance and TSM wanted it. They were aggressive this round. I mean, they both had double-digit kills, and it came down to the solid gameplay of SSG.
And make sure, if you are still here and you want to know the location of Champs, do not go anywhere. We will be revealing that very shortly. So if you're leaving, you're going to take a break, this is not the time to do it, because Champs will be announced. It's one that you want to stick by. Jamerson, welcome back. This is what we live for in the ALGS, and it just happened again to a team maybe a little bit unlikely in SSG, but certainly deserving.
I love it. I love it because I have a history with so many of the players here, right? While I wasn't with the ALGS, during my time off, I was still casting Apex Legends, and one of the things was I was casting a weekly tournament with Phony in it. Twice a week, 6 games a night. I was casting his games, and that man has just gone on to do such amazing things. So many of the players here, but Phony getting this victory really does hit me in a special place.
Phony's story is one I've been privy to. I actually love the journey that he's been on, from me calling him My Little Pony. That's right. I said My Little Pony, and I think that just flashed me back to childhood toys that were around. And it was really My Little Pony. And I remember messing that call up for so long, and it played in every highlight. Well, from that moment, we knew he was a winner. And as we look at these final moments of how that last game went, anybody could have been a winner, Snipe. That's kind of what made this game so important. It looked for a moment, though, just to relish a little bit about TSM's performance up until this point. Their fans are still here. They're throwing signs at Evan. You've played with TSM before and iterations of that. I mean, it really did look like they could have been getting to the top of the mountain this time.
Yeah, I was talking to them in the back before they even went on stage, and they just all seemed so confident. We're talking about how incredible their team fighting performances have been Jordan, refs, said he's been playing Crypto. He's just been literally hovering over his two teammates while they just wide swing things together. And Evan and Zap together, I mean, that's one of the strongest duos in the game. But not just them. I think Koifel and Zainu are two of the top 5 individually skilled controller players in the game. And they honestly opened up this final circle so much for each other and their team to come out with the win and earn themselves $300,000.
Lauren, that's a lot of cash.
A lot.
I mean, you know, you can go shopping with that a little bit. You get to the mall. You hit Primark.
They're gonna have a nice time.
Yeah,
okay.
you can get some, you know, you can get some fast food with that. Amazing performance. 300K in their pocket after today's performance. Gaming Gladiators, a well-deserved second place, $160,000. They've been earning a lot this month. I think this is one of those things that you look at and you go, yeah, you know, were there mistakes made? I'm not sure. Do we do everything in our power to actually win? I think so. And I think Gaming Gladiators keep their heads up high because of what they've done. And I think that makes this story that much greater, that SSG was able to do it, Jamerson, on teams who were performing this well. I mean, that's where I really look at it. This wasn't a lobby where there were 2 favorites. This is a lobby where there might have been 7 favorites.
Yeah, the crazy part about this match point format is that this is a battle royale, right? This is a game mode where it's everyone against everyone, but it's so much more stated in this match point format, right? At any point, someone can sneak away, end the tournament right then and there. And so it becomes that much harder. And to be able to succeed where everyone has that finish line right in front of them, it is such a difficult place to be, but they did it. They did it.
I'm going to ask you some questions now about Legacy. Where does this put Phony as an IGL? He has not been in that conversation with Zero and Hal. It's appropriate. He hasn't won a LAN before. Now he has. Does he get in that conversation, Lauren?
I think he's going to start being in the conversation, right? I think what was especially impressive about this lobby is that we could be having that same conversation about any of those top 10 teams.
Sure.
And it's just showing how much the general level of competition has been elevated. It's something we talk about a lot during the online splits and here at the LANs. Apex Legends is getting harder cross-regionally every single season, every single split. These teams are figuring out new strats, working in the metas even better. And now he's going to be able to say he's one of a very small group of people who have been able to win at a LAN, and we're definitely going to have to start taking a more serious look at him.
And I want to ask this question to you, Snipe. What does this do for Phony's legacy as an IGL and his journey and status in Apex Legends now?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's got multiple top 10 finishes, has made the grand finals in many LANs. He's won regional finals online. I think that this is one of those marquee moments for him that is going to really propel his team. And I was questioning, you know, the leadership on this team and if they're going to be able to bring things back. And this is one of those moments where they were really able to bring it together. The stress was on, and it's one of those things where once you start feeling confident in the calls that you're making and you no longer have the hesitation, should we third this, should we do this, should we do that? He came out there and that's exactly what we saw. They went for the kills. There's no hesitation. They got the KP. They had the game plan, and you saw how on point that whole team was together. I think he's definitely going to be in the conversation, and right now there's no doubt that he's a top 5 IGL in the game.
Jamerson? I mean, does Phony put himself in any distinction now in that category? I mean, what's your takeaway? And it doesn't have to be Phony either, but I do want to focus on him for this at least line of questioning because, you know, he's been that guy kind of holding that mantle. In little ways, I kind of look at him as hockey's kind of vibe, right? He's been holding the mantle, several different teams. He's the consistent piece, and he finally gets the win. What does this do for his legacy in your eyes?
Yeah, I mean, this event alone showed us how many amazing IGLs there are, and we would be remiss if we didn't say that he was amongst the greats at this point. I mean, we talked about, of course, history. How many IGLs have been able to make it to this position? How many IGLs were able to navigate this rough of a path to get to the top? Not many at all. And so if you get it, you're going to get it for life.
And I do love the fact that they had to make some kind of change after a few games and get back on track. 2 points after 3 games, ended with 85. That's one heck of a story. A storybook ending, you might say. Well, the ALGS has 2 parts, right, guys? Oh, wait, there's 3. We got split 1. We got split 2. And am I missing one, Lauren?
I feel like I've heard of one at the end of the year.
Do you guys know what it's called? Oh, I think I know what it's called. It's Champs. That's right. Championships. That's the next big one. You know you've been waiting for this. I've been waiting to talk about it with you. It's time to see where Apex Legends Year 4 storybook ending will take place.
What a beast! 360 Graver shot! There is no way he caught question on everyone's mind is, where are we going for the Year 4 championship?
Now, Dark Zero is going to be your champions of the Apex Legends Global Series.
The CEO with a hostile takeover. TSM are your champions.
総額200万ドルの賞金をめぐって世界中から集まった強豪40チームが対決します。果たしてチャンピオンになるのはどのチームでしょうか。ALGS ようこそ日本札幌へ。
The ALGS is going to Japan. I'll say it again. The ALGS is going to Japan.
We're going to Japan.
We're going to Japan, baby. We're going to Japan. That's what I'm talking about, Jamerson. That's what we need. The ALGS making its first trip to Asia, and what an exciting time for those who are going to be able to attend January 29th to February 2nd with us there.
We had the Asia Games Festival there, and we felt the love, and we wanted to go back. I mean, I think everyone in the Apex Legends community understands how big of an impact that the Japanese community has on Apex. I mean, Snipedown. We got Snipedown right here, who has to create his own Japanese Twitter account to try and deal with all the fans. We've seen Euris as well popping off over there. Wig has a huge, huge following over there. And so it feels so fitting to be able to take champs to Japan.
It's going to be so exciting, Lauren. I mean, this is really what we are going to be waiting for. And I know that you're so excited. So are we. I mean, we can't stop talking about it.
I think this is something that all of us have been dreaming about for so long. This is going to be, I think, our best champs yet. I mean, people are dedicated. This is going to be a massive win for the community. I can't wait to see what the players, what the locals, what everyone brings to the table. Oh, don't even.
I'm kidding. I've been there before. I cannot wait to go back.